If I don't know nothing else, you got to forgive your parents. If I don't know nothing else. Now, I ain't saying just dry forgiveness. That is not what I'm promoting. But what I am promoting is you getting down to the bottom of certain bull in your life. And a lot of the behaviors and the things that you do is based on a couple of things. It's the circumstances your parents put you in, the influences or the exposure of the things around you, or the lack of what they provided you emotionally, nurturing wise. And for some of y'all, materialistically, you don't know what your parents went through. And so some of you will be so selfish that you won't actually take the time to investigate and really look into what it is that made your parents who they are. Some of your parents suffer some things that you would never imagine. Some of your moms grew up maybe with a body more developed. They went through life in a different way. You got physical abuse, you have creepy things that went on back in the gap. You have no idea what that woman went through. She might be anal about being punctual, but growing up, everywhere she went, her mama or her daddy was always late. And so everybody frowned upon them and looked at them different because they were always late. And this is something that leaves an impression on a person. So with that being said, again, you don't know what your people have been through. You just don't. The daddies, the grandpas, man, you don't know what they went through. This system is in some aspects, when the welfare system kicked in, it specifically made it and had a stipulation to where you couldn't even have a daddy in the house. A lot of daddies was the uncle. Did y'all know that? And a lot of kids didn't know that their uncle was really their daddy, because they didn't want the kids to put up with the social worker. For real. So with that being said, you don't know what they went through. Vietnam, Gulf War, you got all these things that transpired back then. The segregating aspect. It's a lot of us, even up until the 80s, that still had some of that experience. I grew up in the 80s, and I remember being one of a few black kids in the schools that I was going to, especially in my class. What? So imagine what they was going through back then. So this sense of trying to accomplish, or the materialism that people want to go and the consumerism and materialism that people are so engulfed in, or this level of trying to attain or impress people or be better than some people, is the reason for some of those things. And then some of the things that they learned were just traditions that were passed down. Some of our parents and grandparents won't let go of religion in a particular type of way. They go keep that white man on their wall. Blonde hair or brown hair, blue-eyed Jesus. They go keep that on their wall, because the one thing you couldn't take from them, for a lot of them back then, they were so poor. That's all they had was their religion. You couldn't take that away from them. They time to worship and all of that. They might have been on that clock. They might have been scrutinized or going through whatever they was going through. You have no idea what they went through. At one point in time, you should be able to look at your parents and just really get down to the bottom of some of these things. And if they ain't open to the conversation, that's cool too. But just you got to somewhere at some point in time in your heart, you got to be able to look them in their eye, or even just in your heart, and just know, even if it's their picture, look at it. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Some men with your relationship with your daddy, have you resolved some of those things? You really know what he was up against? Do you know how tyrannical your mother was? And your daddy ain't really want to be in the house, or when he tried to rear you or raise you in a particular type of way, or impress upon you certain discipline and things like that. Your mama wanted to baby you. And so it caused that disconnection, and she wanted you to, basically, you became the man that she really wanted, that she could control and that she could mold. And then your daddy just kind of went out the window. So it really caused a rift between you and your daddy relationship. You never could really understand what it was. Same thing with fathers and daughters. Mama be so full of bull, whatever she own, and daddy just see that young lady that's pure. She don't cuss him out. She don't talk crazy to him. She just loves him for who he is. When everybody else in his world looks at him like he ain't shit. Cops want to kill him. Or the nigga on the street want to kill him. He really ain't got much. And whatever he got, they go tax him on or take from him. He really didn't have the skills that he might have needed to be able to get out there and really just, put himself on a pedestal that he might feel like he really is supposed to be on. But you have that daughter or two, and they just look at you with all that love in their eyes, and they just treat you just like you're the best person in the world. So yeah, you go focus on them daughters. You're not worried about your mama, but that might have caused a rift with them. That might have ended up in a divorce. It's so many different factors that go on here. The false expectations that one puts on another. His daddy grew up a preacher. He thought he was supposed to grow up a preacher too. And if he didn't grow up a preacher, it's an issue. Or he might be more musically inclined and he grew up a lawyer or something like that. And now they want him to take over the practice and he don't want to do that. He's more musically inclined. So a lot of that has went on in our community. Again, it's so many outside forces and factors that go on, right? We can sit here all day and count those things. The laws that are set up, the incarcerations that are set up, women that prey upon men, men that prey upon women. So it's a lot of things that your parents went through. But you got to be able to, you go gain the peace within you and a particular knowing. A lot of times your questions will help you gain a lot of insight about yourself. Or if you just sit back and kind of observe and think to particular things, a lot of us push a lot of what we grew up and what we were around or what we normalized. We push a lot of that stuff in the back of our head. So a lot of it is trauma. A lot of it is a bunch of built up emotional things and you not being able to be who you really are. Think about some of us who are mixed. Think about that. You can pass off as white, but really you black and you can't be the real you. And your daddy white, but your mama black, but your daddy really mixed. Your mama dark skinned and white folks trying to figure out why is this dark woman in your house, but he got to play it off as your mama being the help. Well, why her dark skinned ass in the house? Oh, she's really good at what she does. It's a lot of that. So, or even the people who mix that, you black and you white, so you're not white enough and you're not black enough. Think about that type. Think about some of your Koreans and your Asian cultures, your Japanese and your Chinese cultures. Think about that. And then when they move here, they end up around a black neighborhood. So now they kids picking up on hip hop. They kids picking up on certain that the other white kids or black kids do. Think about that. And now they look down on you because you're not following, what they wanted the family. You're supposed to run the convenience store. You're supposed to fall in line and do the things that they wanted you to do with the family. And you don't. So think about those things. Think about how those things affected them. It's a lot that they weren't able to process. All these type of little open dialogues and stuff that we talk about now, trauma and all this other shit. This is only because society at this point, a lot of us have went through more of the education that speaks to these clinical terms back then. But nobody gave a fuck about you being depressed back then. That was not a thing. Get your ass up and get your ass back out there. That's really what that was. And a lot of our parents and grandparents were stuck in that cycle. Then a lot of them was the result of their consequences. Think about that. They had their kid at a young age. You are the consequence. Or their grandparents had them at a young age. Your parents are the consequence from your grandparents. So they treated them a particular type of way. You gotta know a lot of the things that you experience, really, a lot of it wasn't personally done unto you with the intent of let me ruin your life or let me ruin your childhood or let me program you with these particular things that, are unhealthy. That was not the case. A lot of it wasn't. So a lot of this anger and pent up energy that we have towards our parents and grandparents and the people who raised us, man, they was in a very different time, in a different place. And I think it's very important for us to go in and to be able to articulate, I ain't mad at you. Because when you're able to articulate that with them, then you go be able to look in the mirror at yourself one day. And you're going to be able to say, I ain't mad at you. You start learning about you. You start learning about the things that carved you and made you what you are and the shape that you are, why you might be rough around the edges and provide those splinters, or you might need a little more sandpaper and that rearing to get you where you need to be and help you out with that change or be a bigger and better person. So you can stop personifying this fake image or some of these coping mechanisms that you came up with, these false identities. A lot of y'all been identity thieves before identity theft was a thing. In the digital sense, a lot of y'all been identity thieves. Where did that come from? It could have been circumstances. You watched your parents operate in a false identity. You watched your grandparents operate in a false identity. You saw how everybody acted when they got around each other for family events versus who they really was when they was at the house. So you saw it. But again, addressing these things will get you a particular type of healing that you want. And it's okay to get this healing. Because once you get all healed up and all the other good stuff, a lot of your life go end up boring, to be honest with you. Healthy is boring. A lot of it is routine. But I'd rather be on that side than the side of a lot of unhealthy. And a lot of that go back to you being mad at your mama, mad at your daddy, mad at your grandpa, mad at your grandmama. Oh, they sold the house. They lost the house. A lot to go on. Let me tell you another thing. What happened when you're not able to look them in the face and say, I ain't mad at you? In a lot of those cases, that's where you hold a lot of your pent up energy and your emotional response. And that's how you go out here and you be quick to cry and quick to shut down or quick to pop off. Or your ass is fat. And you can't figure out why you can't lose that energy. Because fat is not just that you eat. Fat is emotional trauma and traumas that have been sitting on you. That's a whole different ball game. And nobody likes, I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. But you have to be able to go back and heal a lot of that. You got to be able to go look your people in the face and say, I ain't mad at you. Then we could talk about friends and the people who've been in your inner circle or people you grew up with or your best friends or your siblings. You could get at them. You could be able to speak on that. And then a lot of being able to look in that mirror and say, I'm mad at you. A lot of that is you dealing with you and being honest with you. Because you got to be, well, you don't have to be. It's on you. To each his own. One of the things that was most important to me was maintaining a sense of integrity and honesty within myself. And even us as men, when we go and have multiple women or we cheating on our significant other and all that, and we have that level of deceptiveness or whatnot, bro, you got to be honest with yourself. You really do. And speaking your truth all the time is, or speaking your truth is not something everybody go like. And in most cases, a lot of people don't like certain truths about you. They probably really don't need to be around you anyway. Or they really didn't love you in a particular way, or they love you enough to let you go when you speak your truth. But put that out there. Because what you're doing is you could be nipping certain shit in the bud so your kids ain't got to come look you in your face. And they got to look at you and say, I ain't mad at you. So think about that. Think about your work relationships. Think about a lot of you experience that you just hold on to. That heartache, that's breast cancer. Really? That heart, you just constant heartbreak. What do you think all that pain and all that stuff sit inside? What do you think? A lot of these things that sit in these particular areas where we end up with these cancers and these ailments, where do you think that come from? Or these weird sicknesses and stuff that we experience. A lot of that is emotionally driven. A lot of that is based on the temperament and your experience with that environment around you. So if you still mad at a lot of them around you, you dealing that turmoil and you always thinking on the back of your feet and backpedaling and you always dealing with that and you kicking up some shit. What do you think your life is going to be? So you got to be willing to go in and do the research, be honest with yourself, understand a lot of this wasn't done personally unto you, and you got to be able to leave. Well, you ain't got to do shit, but I suggest that you put yourself in a place and in a position to where you're not holding on to nothing and you can say, I ain't mad at you.